Hi guys, we've got a speed run this update video because I have a lot to talk about, but I don't have a lot of time to talk about it. So today we're going to be just going through them as quickly as humanly possible, talk about all the other bits and pieces that I've been working on and doing in between, like all the other stuff that's going on at the same time. So big update for the actual channel itself. I've decided to try and put adverts on some of the videos. I know that that's not something that I really wanted to do, but I didn't think that I had any control over whether they were mid-roll ads or not, which is the only thing that I really had against it. I know that everyone nowadays kind of assumes that adverts are just kind of a fact of life on YouTube, and I don't really like that to be contributing to that. But I've decided that I'm going to set some very, very strict ground rules, and the ground rules are basically that there will not be any adverts on horror reviews. There will not be. So like every time that you decide to watch one of them, there will not be adverts on it unless like, you know, it's been content claimed or something like that and I don't have a choice in it. The only things that will have adverts on them will be like the bigger videos, like the sci-fi horror one, not that I could do it on that one, but like, you know, that kind of thing. And my principles for all of this are still kind of, if I can't monetize a video because of something I've decided to include in it, then it's not getting monetized. I'm not gonna like, you know, I'm not gonna pander to the goddamn, you know, advertisers to try and make something that my content isn't. So as long as I don't get mid-roll ads, you know, which I can just tick a box and I won't get them apparently, or not tick a box and not get them, and you know, I work under the premise that I'm not changing any of the content to try and suit anything else, then I'm completely fine with it. As long as I get to make whatever I want with it, then fine. But like basically I'm at a point where I've got to look at the long-term longevity of the channel, and like, you know, there's a distance in the horizon where I'm like, I don't know if I can continue doing this forever. And so that was one thing that I was looking at. So yeah, I'm trying that for the moment. I also tried to do the super thanks thing, but like, I don't know if I'm going to bother with that. I was also looking at YouTube memberships again. Like, I don't know if I'm going to bother with that. You know, I would rather just kind of, you know, focus on the content. I would really like that. This is the thing. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I would rather focus on the content than literally anything else. I'd like to make good videos, but like I can't constantly afford to make good video. I've had to buy so many different films to talk about, and some of them have been a little pricey. Sometimes I'm, you know, I've luckily, thanks to developers sending me games, like it's been a lot easier to, you know, make content more often, just because I don't have to pay for the game or don't have to go and choose it. It just throws itself in my lap and says review me, which is great. But yeah, that's all I'm saying about that one at the moment. I'm still very much on the side of ad blockers, and I very much recommend that if you've got ad blockers, you should, because I hate watching adverts. So if you know, you should too. Anyway, moving on, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about for this year's Halloween, the ones that I've been working on. Then I've got to talk about the ones that are going out in the middle of the year, which will be like, you know, sooner, but we'll talk about the Halloween stuff first. I've started playing Omori. I've only really got as far as I did the last time that I played Omori, but this time I've actually got the game myself rather than like playing it on, I think it was Xbox Game Pass, where I lost access to that just because they removed it, and I didn't really get to play any more back then. But now I'm playing it, and it's been pretty disturbing. Like I haven't got very far into it, but I remember like the opening of it was very like light-hearted and flowery and stuff, and then it goes into the dark stuff, and I was like, this is why I'm playing the game. But yeah, I haven't really got a great deal to say about that one at the moment, so that's that. Skald Against the Black Priory is a CRPG kind of game that I've been playing that's definitely going on this year's Halloween alongside Omori. It's very sort of like gothic cosmic horror sort of thing, where you like your ship crashes on an island, and like there's like a whaling colony on there, and it's very like Lovecraftian sort of stuff going on there. And it's basically just an RPG where you end up like gathering a crew. It's like Dungeons and Dragons, but Lovecraft wrote it, and it works really well. I like it. It's set in like the medieval times. I've been playing quite a lot of it. The only problem that I really have with that thing at the moment is that some of the combat inside like narrow rooms can be a real chore. but like the writing and stuff like that, brilliant, very, very good, super impressed. Actually, another thing, they need to have more variety for the combat music because there isn't enough. Right, moving on. Crowded Followed is one that I've played through to the finish. I haven't actually finished Omori or Scald. I've just been playing those. I'm still going through them. Crowded Followed is a game where you find a briefcase on a dead guy, and then suddenly you're being chased by this really tall woman. And I know that sounds like Resident Evil Village, but trust me, it's worse than that. You have to go through a bunch of crowded areas. You've got asthma, and it's a big thing about like resource management, where you need to try and balance your inhaler alongside, you know, getting through the area to grab all the things that you need because you've got no money. So you need to, like, you know, buy a ticket at one point, and then have to like search through things and try and find money to then buy a ticket and then walk out of the place with, because you can't leave without a ticket. And all the time you're being chased by the woman, and it's really intense, and it's completely different to what you imagine like a lot of horror games to be, because most of them take place in, like, you know, isolated areas, very lonely things, and this is like, you know, a club full of people, or like a, you know, a packed train and stuff like that. It's really different, and I really quite liked it. Next one is Slay the Princess. I'll be definitely talking about Slay the Princess this Halloween. Unfortunately, I don't really have much to say about it at the moment, because I've only done, what I've learned was one run where I thought that I'd like finished the game. But I didn't really understand a great deal of what I was being, what was conveyed to me at the moment. So yeah, there's a lot more to learn in there than I learnt from it. But yeah, no, it's very, very interesting at the moment. I just, you know, I can't say much because I just don't know what to make of it. So I'll have to go back and play it through a couple more times to try and get some of the others to talk about, because you've basically got like loads and loads of different scenarios, and you unlock them by doing different things, and they result in different stuff, and yeah, it requires more experimentation. The Last Door Season 2 is one that I've been playing. I started that last year, and I've only just finished that. And yeah, it was really good. It was actually, I think, better than the first season, but I feel like it's probably going to get a very similar score just because it's basically the same, but, you know, I can't complain about it. Again, the writing is really good. It's got some really creepy moments. I loved Chapter 1, and I really liked Chapter 4. 2 and 3 were also pretty good. I don't think I had any weak moments like I think the first game did, but like it really kind of spread itself quite generously across different genres, and nailed most of them as far as I'm aware. Like, it had a good set of gothic horror, it had like creepy mansions, everyone loves creepy mansions. It had a good old-fashioned cosmic horror, like feeling like you're on a different planet by the end of it, and that was really good. Honestly, very, very good. Don't think I have much more to say about it than that. Next game, Fear the Spotlight. Fear the Spotlight was not the game that I thought it was going to be, but I was really impressed by it anyway. It has two scenarios where you play as Vivian and Amy, and the first scenario where you play as Vivian was way better in my opinion, like miles better. Not that I think that Amy's one was bad, but like Viv's one was really good. So I ended up really walking away from that thinking that was really good. There were a few moments that actually managed to like properly scare me, which was not what I was anticipating from it, because it seemed quite, you know, cutesy for a while, but it really isn't. It is still a bit more light-hearted than a lot of the horror games that I end up, you know, covering, but it was very, very good. Post-Trauma, I've been having a bit of problem recording Post-Trauma, but like the game itself is it's certainly unique. It has a lot of ideas that feel like like a combination of, like, you know, Silent Hill and I guess like Hollow Body, but even that's like inspired by Silent Hill, I guess, at the end of the day. I like the puzzles in it so far. I like the atmosphere. It's not leaving as much of an impact on me as I thought it would, but I am enjoying playing it. I haven't really finished a lot of it, and like honestly, at the moment I'm kind of having to associate it more with like computer problems than anything else. So I'm hoping that once I've finished with, you know, once I can sort out the computer problems, it'll be fine. There's a bunch of I think that's it for all the ones that I was going to talk about that I've been working on from This Is Halloween. So next up there's Monster Merchant, Encrypted Nightmares, and Barcher. And Monster Merchant, these are all ones that were sent to me. Monster Merchant is basically like a Pokemon style game where you throw out these cubes to capture things, and then it gets progressively more sincere, like disturbing, as you like take the cube and stuff home and then release them into your garden, and then you pick up these things and put them in a van, and then you get money for them, and it all feels very sordid and not particularly nice. But obviously as the game goes on, it reveals itself to be something much darker and a front for something else. And I feel like the only issue that I have with the game is that actual, that reveal itself is something that you can figure out way before it actually happens. And at the same, you can pretty much guarantee that it means something else just because you're playing a horror game that's based on this. But I think that the actual delivery of the thing was not as good as it could have been. That's about all the issues that I had with that. It was okay. The next one, Encrypted Nightmares, was more of like an FMV sort of game where you basically, it's like Night Trap, where you just sort of cycle through stuff and then watch stuff that's happening. But I don't feel that what was on display or available to see in Encrypted Nightmares was as raw or as nasty as, like, I was kind of expecting for something that was based on that. It was a little bit tame, and the group chat, the stream chat, whatever I want to call it, group chat, the stream chat that's going on the right hand side felt largely like irrelevant, and made it almost, we all felt like we were just kind of like chilling watching an amateur movie as it was all going on. So yeah, I didn't feel much for that, unfortunately, either. Barcher was the last one, and Barcher was largely unfinished. Like, I have nothing that much good to say about Barcher other than, like, it was trying, but it wasn't trying very hard. It had like AI voices, it had like weird janky animations, weird camera angles, strange dialogue, it had like glitches galore, it had lots of problems with scripted events and atmosphere and barely any audio and like random sound effects playing, and like it was just an absolute mess of different things that they'd somehow crammed together and like failed to sellotape it properly because it was falling apart at the seams. It didn't perform well, it didn't play well. It was, but I've given it like a 1 out of 5 because, the gore was kind of cool, I guess. It was really rough, and I've already written the review for this, but I've got to edit it, but I haven't had time to do that yet, and I haven't had the enthusiasm to do that at the moment because it's not a particularly fun game to make a video for. So yeah. Oh yeah, I'm working on so that's the end of all of those. There's Barcher's gonna have its own video because I've written quite a lot for that, but the other two will probably be going together sometime in the future. Next up, finally, to wrap this video up because I don't want to be going on for too long because I got to go back to work. Sci-Fi Horror 2 is gonna have a lot of different stuff in it, from like alien worlds to talking about genetics, and don't tell anybody this, but the way that I'm gonna try and work this thing out is to make it an almost parody of the previous video. So like I'm gonna be taking like the same project template, the same script template, and changing it bit by bit to make it seem like it's the same video again, but actually it's like, completely different. And a lot of the things that I had like a passing mention of in the last video will get a big feature in this one. And there's a lot of stuff that I talk about, from like how a lot of stuff from Resident Evil, there's a lot of stuff from like Stalker and Metro and their worlds. There's supposed to be things about altered memories where like Signalis and Evil Within and a film called Possessor. There's a lot more games in this one than there was in the last one, but it's gonna take quite a while to get through because I'm still basically like writing it, and I was hoping to get it done within a 2-week time frame, but that was like a massive overestimation. Like that was huge. I was 100% wrong with that. It's gonna take way longer to get through that than that. I've only just just finished the first chapter and it's taken me like a week. So yeah, I can't force the writing process, and the problem is that like I'm picking up the laptop as often as I possibly can to try and get something down, but I feel like I'm just, you know, squeezing the stone to get some blood out of it. I'm not getting anything. So I'm I need to, you know, watch more films, like, you know, examine some more games, come up with some better things to mix in together. And, you know, I need that rather than like, you know, to constantly butcher myself over a laptop. So yeah, I'm working on that, but it's going to take a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. I've also had some more ideas to talk about, like a video about different depictions of hell, which of course Simon is probably going to get brought up again because like it's literally hell. as well as some other things like probably like Doom 3 and other bits and pieces. But the more interesting one that I was going to talk about was going to be like the folklore that kind of that like really builds up a lot of tension in a lot of different games. Like, you know, when you think about like Home Sweet Home and Fatal Frame and stuff like that, how like the folklore of like just telling you a vaguely related story to what you feel could be going on has like such a massive impact on like how you perceive certain things within the scenario that's happening in front of you. Like, oh, how much of the folklore is real, or even like how much folklore adds to certain stuff. Like, and after having finished like Hollow Cocoon and stuff like that, which had, you know, some fun folklore of its own, I was going to talk about how like folklore from like different countries is way more interesting than like a lot of folklore from like my country at least, and how that really makes things a lot more interesting. But I have a big headache, and that's really all I've got to talk about this time. Think that's about it. Oh, the critical versus personal opinion. I've done no work on that. Sorry. I was supposed to finish that. I've only got 3 more entries left to write, and I haven't. I've been like, I finished. Well, I didn't finish Deadly Premonition. I got as far as in Deadly Premonition as I was planning on going, but I don't need to play anymore. I just need to get back to writing. So yeah, I'll need to get on with that. But it's like it's not in the pipeline at the moment, even though it is mostly finished. But yeah, anyway, that's that. I wanted to wrap this up quite quickly because, again, I've got to get back to work. So I will see you all next time, and thank you for watching, supporting, and tolerating, and thank you.